That's going to do it for this edition of Front Office Sports Today. Renee and I are back for way more fun tomorrow. We'll see you later.
Oh, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least a 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
On a Tuesday night on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh with you for the opening night of the NBA season here on the Decisions Desk. We begin with this question, as I am sure many of you watching this show, if you can, on the second screen, perhaps the start of the new NBC pregame show, are wondering, K-Dub, should you copy that Carmelo look? I'm already talking to people about it. I like what I'm seeing. I love what I'm seeing. And I love that you're with us here tonight for what is an absolute treat. This could have got a little bit messy if we would have ended up with a Game 7 in the NLCS. The Dodgers handled their business. They found out last night they will see the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. The World Series odds are set and available, as the Dodgers are a better than -200 favorite. Anywhere you look, they do not have home field advantage. The World Series will begin Friday. We will have you fully covered in the lead up to the World Series. I have said this despite my obvious excitement as a basketball guy for the start of the NBA season. This is a show ran by baseball guys. You will be covered for the World Series. Don't you worry about that. There is some action on the ice tonight if you are so inclined. Edmonton on the road against Ottawa, still booked as a favorite. In the nation's capital, Washington, a big-time favorite against the Seattle Kraken. And you do have Marchand's return to Boston against the Bruins. I know some books have gone for some profit boosts as Marchand is off to a very good start this year. 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points through the first 7 games for the Florida Panthers. Main events. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. A 2-pack of NBA action. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champions at home, a 6.5, 7-point favorite against the Houston Rockets. No Jalen Williams. What does that mean for the props market tonight? As we look to get involved here with the very first game of this season, Coach James Young will help us break down that one, as well as the matchup between the Lakers and the Warriors. Luka Doncic will be hosting Steph Curry. No LeBron James for this game. What's the timeline for LeBron? Something we're going to get involved with here a little bit tonight. Trevor Lane will join the show, does a great job covering the Los Angeles Lakers, so we will be talking about that with him as well. We will give to you a full Kevin's 7 of my 7 favorite NBA futures, but I needed to separate the title pick because I wanted to be able to talk about it just a little bit longer. And last year was wild because last year's title pick was the Dallas Mavericks. And, well, they gave up on the season pretty early on, despite the fact that when they were healthy, they were actually awesome. But that's neither here nor there. I have always enjoyed getting involved with the NBA's futures market. We've actually now, since we've started, doing game time decisions here, have had 2 NBA opening nights, and I've been able to deliver a conference outright on this night from this desk each of those 2 years. What would be 2 seasons ago, Dallas in the West, and then last year, Indiana in the East. Maybe we'll do that again, but I'd love to deliver the NBA outright pick. And despite that desire, I'm not just going to go chalk. I can't just show up and give you OKC at 2-1. They're the rightful favorites. They won it last year. They absolutely are capable of repeating. But if I didn't bet them last year at short numbers preseason, I'm not betting them this year at even shorter numbers. And that even pushes me aside from Denver. Considering how strong the OKC numbers are, anyone else in the West should be further back. At least the case for the Cavs and the Knicks is, they're coming from the East, right? And if you meet them there, good hedge number, Denver's good. I don't dislike Denver. I just can't get there at their numbers. But there is one team in the West, to me, when you tier this out, is right there with those 2, if not better than Denver. A team who last season sneaky finished 4th in net rating, despite an incredibly slow start. They ripped off a 2nd straight trip to the Western Conference Final. I think they can rip off a 3rd, and this time get it done. Give me the Minnesota Timberwolves to win the NBA championship at 20-1. Again, firstly, price. Longer odds than the Magic. That's crazy. That is insane. Orlando has done nothing. Nothing as a core. That's ridiculous. Longer odds than the Clippers. Do we have to do this again with the Clippers? Pablo Torre, do me a favor. Find out why people keep betting the Clippers to win the title. Have they not learned their lesson since Kawhi's joined this team that is a bad bet year in and year out? So from a numbers perspective, I know we've got juice on Minnesota. But it's, again, a team who started slow and still delivered a 49-win season and 4th in net rating, and I think they can be even better. I think Julius Randle has found himself a legitimate home, finally. Randle battling, trying to break out, become an all-star level guy, but is he good enough to be your number 1? He is now firmly, squarely, steady, the number 2 man on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he was awesome in the playoffs, and I think a locked-in Randle will be awesome this year. Rudy Gobert, for the questions that he brings when you can get into a postseason setting, has also created matchup advantages. for the Minnesota Timberwolves in postseason settings and locks this team in to a top 5 defense each and every year. And I love that Minnesota is attempting to draft a mini Gobert in Johan Berenger, who they took with the 17th overall pick. What a very exciting summer league, if I do say so myself. The bench is littered with proven pieces and exciting pieces. Naz Reid, 6th Man of the Year winner and favorite. Dante DiVincenzo could easily slide into the starting rotation if need be, or be a 6th Man of the Year candidate in his own right. Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., I think both can take year number 2 leaps. Chris Finch has proven to be one of your 6 or 7 best coaches in the NBA. And all of that is the supporting cast for one of the 6 best players in the league, Anthony Edwards, who won't stop talking about making another leap, and I love it. I was getting to these numbers before Anthony Edwards was making it very well known what the goal is this year. It's win a championship. And you might say, oh, everybody wants to win a championship. Yeah, everybody wants to. Does everybody think they can? And is everybody willing to do what it takes to win that championship? I think Anthony Edwards is. I think Anthony Edwards has a great opportunity to be first-team All-NBA this season, and I think is one of the 6 best players in the league with a really good supporting cast around him. 20-1 is the best number on the board to win the NBA championship. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I choose you. Not the only things I chose, though. We've got 7 more futures to deliver you. We're going to still, of course, break down Lakers, Warriors, as well as, of course, Oklahoma City and Houston. We are live here on SportsGrid. Game time decisions on the opening night of the NBA season. We'll be right back.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to
This
pay.
game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions back with you on a Tuesday night. Excited as can be to have you for the start of the NBA season. We're going to preview these 2 games in just a couple of moments here, but I want to get everybody set up in the futures market for what we've got available to us. There are a lot of good options here. We're involved with some of these awards. We are involved with some win totals as well. There are some good player prop options that we can get involved with too. So let's get through it all here, okay? My favorite win total is a team that may not be very good, but has zero interest in being very bad, and they would need to be very bad to go under this number. That is the Sacramento Kings over 32.5 wins. You don't have to like the collection of guys in Sacramento together. I think that is a totally fine, acceptable, if not accurate opinion. They won 40 games last year in Sacramento. A full season of Zach LaVine, I'll take it. I know Sabonis is starting the year, banged up with a hamstring injury. That doesn't concern me. He will be back. The signing of Russell Westbrook, again, you don't have to like it. He's going to win them 4 games. He's going to lose them 6 games. But it's a 32.5 win total. I could afford the 6 losses for the 4 wins. Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk. It's a more talented backcourt than it probably should be. Sacramento isn't tanking. Otherwise, basically all of these guys on the roster that no one likes wouldn't be on the roster. They would have traded Sabonis already. They would have traded DeMar already. They never would have traded for LaVine. They would have not signed Dennis. They would have not signed Russ. They are interested in winning games. It is almost impossible to be interested in winning games and go under 32.5. Give me the Kings over the win total. Give me the Pacers over the win total, 36.5. I'm a Tyrese Halliburton guy. I think he's one of the 10 best guys in the league. I don't think the absence, though, of Tyrese Halliburton is going to have the Indiana Pacers as one of the worst teams in the league. Last year, we saw the Eastern Conference produce 10 teams that won 37 or more games. The Pacers are one of the 10 best teams in the Eastern Conference, if not significantly higher than that. I'm not so sure that a team like Boston, who also lost their superstar to a torn Achilles, is better set up for success than Indiana. This is a Pacers team whose front court is questionable in the absence of Miles Turner, but they can make up for it with incredible depth and pace, and that's what they're going to look to do here. Indiana is going to attack with pace and depth. Nembhard, Mathurin, Shepard, Naismith, Siakam, Toppin, Walker, they're going to run 9 to 10 deep. Give me Indiana over. My pick to win the East. So often you get these teams who come with a lot of question marks, and then the price makes it impossible to get to. The Sixers are the opposite. Due to all of these question marks, we are getting incredible numbers. At 12 to 1, give me Philly, who is arguably the most talented team in the East. I understand all of the health questions. I understand that. But with all of the other health questions in the conference, with all the other non-proven winners in the conference, clipping a 12 to 1 on Philly when they sit well below the Atlanta Hawks, double the number of the Orlando Magic, that is an opportunity that I cannot pass up. I don't need Embiid to play 60. I need the Sixers in the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind they will be in the playoffs. They were injured as all get out and then tanked on top of it. They're maybe more talented this year than last. They've added depth to that basketball team in Philly, and I think VJ Edgecombe has juice. More on him in a minute. I know I picked Minnesota to win the title. That's not going to stop me, though, from one of the most ridiculous numbers I've ever seen in my entire life. The Memphis Grizzlies to win the West at 130 to 1 is absolutely insane. I'll tell you flatly, it's on DraftKings. This number's 60 to 1 on FanDuel. 60 to 1, I think, on Fanatics. 130 to 1 on a Memphis team who usually year in, year out gives you one of the 7-8 best defenses in basketball, superstar upside in Ja Morant. This number's 101, 100 longer than the Spurs? The Mavs are 18-1 and have almost the same win total as Memphis. It's crazy. The Grizzlies' upside is obvious as all get out. A team who's won 50 regular season games with this core multiple times, that's an insane number. The league's MVP, it feels like it's going to come down to 4 guys. Shea, Jokic, Doncic, Giannis. Shea's 160. Jokic is 3-1. Luka's 4-1. What is Giannis doing at 13-1? The Bucks have just put shooting, and more shooting around Giannis. It is set up for him to average 33, 34 a game with 10, 11 rebounds and 6 or 7 assists. This could be the best statistical season of Giannis's career. And he doesn't need 60 wins like old Bucks teams. He wins 48 games, which is what they won last year, and he's going to get all the credit in the world. That Giannis number is too long. I'm taking a shot on VJ Edgecombe in Rookie of the Year. I understand Coop is the favorite, and he should be. He's the most talented player in the class. Ace Bailey is on the worst team in the NBA in the Utah Jazz. He should not have shorter odds than VJ Edgecombe, and you guys know I'm an Ace Bailey guy. Trey Johnson, 10-1. The Wizards are awful. Dylan Harper is like the 3rd starting point guard on the Spurs. Edgecombe is going to start for a Sixers team that I'm in on, and you know that. Give me a chance on VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. Lastly, 25-1 Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year. This is very, very simple. This team is plus 850 to win 70 games. There's been 2 teams that have won 70 games. Both of their coaches won Coach of the Year. If the Thunder go for it and add 4 wins to last year's win total and get 72, I guarantee you Daigneault wins Coach of the Year. That is where we are set up in the futures market for the NBA season. We'll be right back.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price.
This game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
You don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid, breaking news out of the NBA. Chris Haynes reports that the Warriors will be starting Jonathan Kuminga tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. You may think, no big deal. I disagree with you slightly, as I think this means you're going to see Al Horford come off of the bench. It could be Pods, but I don't think so. I'm just pulling up here. Look, this is some breaking news. This is going to impact how we bet this game here. I think there was a game that they went with that lineup, and I want to see how this... No, they didn't, actually. Did they not go with a Kuminga, Steph, Draymond, one of these games? They did. Oh, Draymond wasn't playing in the game, though. Interesting. Steph, Draymond, Kuminga, Jimmy. So do you start Horford or Pods, I guess is the question? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. We wait and see what that starting lineup will be in Golden State. Okay, we're going to give you some bets for that game, best bets, everything like that. What I want to do, though, is give you guys 2 more futures that you can get involved with, okay? And then we are going to get you some bets for tonight's game. My favorite season-long players market is with Victor Wembanyama. I was attempted to bet a Spurs win total under at 44.5. I'm passing on that, and that is basically out of respect to Wemby, who I think is also one of the 6 best guys in the league. What I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury. I took him up for 4. I took him for 5. I believe at 4 it's plus 450. I might have sent that in wrong, but that's, I think, plus 450 for 4 and should be 12-1 for 5. Wemby's pace in the preseason, he was averaging 6.4 assists on a per 33-minute basis, which is almost double his assist number last year. Prior to the last preseason game, Wemby, on a per 33-minute basis, was averaging 8.4 assists. I think he is going to have himself a monster year, and I might steal one of these with blocks. Give me Wemby on the season-long triple-double ladder, and then a little 100-point special. I think people will like this. Just put a couple of guys who are now in situations where I think they're going to be the clean lead dog. Devin Booker to average 28, very straightforward, no Durant. Devin Booker has flirted with this number prior in his career. Jaylen Brown for 28. This team is going to run and gun in Boston. Jaylen Brown, I think, averaged 26.6 one year. With the absence of Jason Tatum, you're going to see a ton from Jaylen Brown. I think Brandon Miller is going to emerge as the best player on the Hornets. LaMelo Ball is simply never healthy. I think 22 points per game for someone who averaged 21 a game last year when healthy isn't a big ask. And then I think probably my favorite of all of these numbers, Michael Porter Jr., 22 points per game. I couldn't find it anywhere in the market. If somebody out there sees it, let me know. Michael Porter Jr. is going to lead the Nets in scoring, not Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas has much, much shorter odds than Porter Jr. when it comes to points per game. I'm ready to be proven wrong on this, but I don't think I will be. Porter Jr. is set up to be the star of the Nets, not Cam Thomas, who they would not commit any money to this offseason. So I'll take those guys in a parlay. It's around 33-1. Little fun, some season-long average opportunities. Let's do best bets. Crew's involved in the back. We even had Casino Chris send a pick in for the NBA. Chris is going to go with KD, 28 points plus assists, minus 124, so over 27.5. AJ is going to lay it with the Warriors, minus 2.5 on the road against the Lakers. Sam's got Rockets first half money line, plus 156. Little love for Houston. And then give me DeAndre Ayton over 10.5 bounds. DeAndre Ayton is going to lead the Lakers in rebounding, I think, even when everyone is healthy. This is where there's some hidden value in the LeBron absence. That's 7-8 rebounds a game, not in the Lakers starting lineup. DeAndre Ayton had a few huge rebounding performances in the preseason, including a game where he had a 13 rebound game just in the preseason in like 26 minutes. He's against the Warriors team that we just got word is starting Kuminga. That might take Horford off the floor. That's a bump for us. I absolutely love that. We'll get more into these with Coach, who joins us next. But I'm on SGA, over 6.5 assists for Oklahoma City. More passing work in the absence of J-Dub. Give me the Rockets plus the touchdown against OKC. Coach James Young joins us next. We're live on SportsGrid.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price.
This game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions on SportsGrid on a Tuesday night, on opening night of the NBA season. We are joined by host of the Betting Above the Rim podcast right here on SportsGrid, Coach James Young. JY, great to see you, sir. Great to see you, sir.
This is great. Hey, we don't have no baseball tonight. Is there hockey tonight? I don't even know. But if there's hockey, I'm not watching it. No NFL tonight. We just got ball. And now that they're back on NBC, it's like all is right. Well, I know I sent you that. I got nothing out of you young bucks. I don't even know. Was the NBA even on NBC when you guys were growing up? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it all depends who, I guess, on the crew you're talking to. JY, I spent a lot of time going through my futures. I wanted to set the people up with that. I think you and I can circle back to the futures market. Let's break these games down. Thunder Rockets is where we begin. Kevin Durant with a new team and a lot of expectations for Houston. There are some key injuries, though, to note heading into this one. Now, Fred VanVleet is out for the season. He tore his ACL over the summer, but this is the first, it's the first go at it, right? So, we're not going to talk about FEV being out on a game-to-game basis, but I think it's an important mention heading into the season. For the Thunder, no Jalen Williams, who is, their second or third best player, depending on who you talk to. 6.5, 7-point spread. Total in this one, I'm seeing 226.5 right now, Coach. Talk to me about this game tonight.
Well, for me, most people think that it won't be points because of some of the guys missing, like J-Dub and Fred VanVleet. I'm going over it. It was at 227.5, so if you can get it at 226.5, even better. You got to look at a Rockets team was 12th in offensive efficiency last year. Obviously, they're going to be much better with Kevin Durant as a sniper. And the other side, Oklahoma City, 3 in offensive efficiency, 7th in effective field goal percentage, 6th in true shooting percentage. I think there's going to be points in this game. Give me, now it's 226.5. It's even better, Kev. Give me over 226.5 in the game tonight.
So this is an interesting spot here, JY. I'm not playing the total in this game, but I am playing the side, and I don't know if my analysis of the side lines up with where you are at on the total, but that's fine, right? It doesn't. I'm on the Rockets +7 because they are going with the double big lineup. And that is something that I needed in order to bet Houston tonight. And you know, Reed Shepherd guy, through and through. But that might take some time. The double big Rockets are going to crush on the glass both sides. So the double big Thunder, right? While that's, of course, fantastic, this mitigates a little bit of that. I think it'll be Houston's best defensive lineup, JY. And I'll add this, and I mentioned the Jalen Williams absence. I think J-Dub is important. I mean, I think he's a really good player. Is he worth 2 points? Is he worth 4 points? Is he worth a point? He's worth something. So I think 7's a little big here tonight with no Jalen Williams. I am very excited to back the double big lineup. I know it's preseason, forgive me, but they did have one preseason game where they started Adams and Şengün. The average plus-minus of their starting 5 in that game was +18. I'm backing the Rockets, coach, because of Adams and Şengün getting the start together.
Well, Kevin, let's be honest. If you're talking about a double big lineup, it's a super big gulp lineup because you're going 6'11", 6'11", 6'11", 6'11". I know it's not the tallest lineup in the history of the NBA. I think that was like the Mavericks team with Sean Bradley. But still, when you look at it, Kevin, they used it sometimes in the playoffs, and it was successful for them.
Yeah.
So one of my best bets is Alperen Şengün over 8.5 rebounds. He got this every game in the playoffs last year, and that included having Steven Adams in the lineup and playing with him. So I think it also keeps him out of foul trouble, right? Weak side rebounder. He'll be able to go attack the offensive boards. I think he's a little bit thicker to me than Chet. So I look at Alperen Şengün to go over 8.5 rebounds tonight, over 5 in the last 6 times versus the Thunder. Give me Şengün over 5.5 rebounds. And speaking of the double, triple, quadruple big lineup, you know where I'm going. Kev, I know it's Tuesday,
Here we go.
But we're going to church. Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, Amen Thompson, over 4.5 assists. I want people to understand this. Houston does not have ISO guys with Jalen Green gone. So the ability for him to create off the bounce and set people up, Kevin Durant, one dribble, catch a shoot. Jabari Smith, catch a shoot, shooter. Şengün, sneaky good, dump offs in the paint. It's at over 4.5. You're going to have to pay the juice for it. But think about this, Kevin. The last 20 games he played without Fred VanVleet last year, he went over 4.5 assists in 15 out of those 20. Amen Thompson over 4.5 assists tonight.
I am on SGA over 6.5 assists in this game. Shea last year played 9 games without J-Dub, went for 7 or more assists in 6 of the 9. Quick little note, he actually went under 32.5 points in 6 of the 9. He had some big games, but on a consistent basis, it wasn't always there. But JY, preseason, and again, everybody can do this a little bit differently, but I did on a per 33-minute basis for Shea. So it's a little bit under what he usually would play, but it gives you an idea. He was averaging 9.3 assists per game on a per 33-minute basis. He was really passing the ball. And again, I think that lines up a little bit, JY. Drives into the paint. Everyone's 7 foot. Hassan Wallace, Lou Dort, Caruso, Chet, corner threes aplenty for OKC. Anything else on this game, JY, or do we want to get over to Golden State, LA?
Really quick before we go to that game, I think, Kevin, you make a good point, but it's kind of like when we go with the Amen Thompson over assists. J-Dub is an ISO guy. There isn't a guy on OKC besides SGA that's going to go one-on-one, right? So that means catch and shoot, catch, one dribble, pull up. So that's why Kevin's play makes sense because of J-Dub not being there, but the fact that they don't have a lot of guys that's going to create off the bounce.
Lakers Warriors tonight in LA. Golden State a favorite of 2.5 to 3, depending on where you take a look here. Total in this one between 226.5 and 227.5 right now. JY, where do you start the breakdown for this matchup?
I'm going to take even though I'm not really believing them for the overall season, because of the LeBron injury, working in 8, working in Smart, working in others, I'm going to actually go with the Warriors on the money line. Remember, the Lakers won the season series, won 3 out of 4 games. The only time the Warriors won was right after they got Jimmy Butler, and I think that's the difference here. So I'm going to go ahead and take them on the money line tonight. As regards to plays, Rui. Like, LeBron's out. So who has...
Can I tell you something, JY?
Yes.
I shouldn't say this on air because it's so embarrassing. You did that Rui chant all last season. It wasn't until just now that I realized you were doing a play on Rudy. I swear to gosh. That's insane.
Well,
that's crazy. I'm right? Like, I'm not...
Yes.
Like,
yes,
that's...
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Like, of course.
It makes me cry. The Notre Dame guys didn't even get the Notre Dame reference. So I don't even know
what's wrong with me? You did that all of last year. I never understood it. I thought you were just rooting him in. I really did.
Right, but I'm still going to root him in tonight. Over 12.5 points for Rui Hachimura. Had a 50% hit rate. And then 4 in the last 5 games that he had versus, obviously, the Warriors he hit. And because of the fact that I don't think Vanderbilt scores enough, they need a third score. Luka, right? Reeves, Rui. Rui over 12.5 points tonight.
I have never needed a commercial. Well, that's not true. I've been angry during some in-game. I cannot believe. I don't even know why I got it. Like there was nothing different that made me get it right now versus all of the other times. Awesome. Love it.
I'm like Charles Dutton. What's that guy's name? Charles Dutton? Rock? Yeah,
what? Yeah, never mind. Of course I didn't get it. This guy's nuts. Why would I get anything he says? We're back with some futures breakdown next on SportsGrid. This guy's crazy.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to pay.
This game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back right here on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions. We've gone through coaches at Coach quickly. Anything else to you, Lakers Warriors, that we didn't cover?
No, that's just about it. It's
Okay.
just the Warriors over
Great.
12.5, and then the Warriors money line.
Great. I will reset kind of my action in that game in just a little bit. I want to do a little bit of futures conversation with JY. So I've laid out a number of my futures. I'll run through them again just, quickly here, where we've got the Kevin 7. Give me the Kings over 32.5. Pacers over 36.5. Philly to win the East, 12-1. Memphis to win the West, 130-1. Insane number. Giannis MVP. Edgecombe Rookie of the Year. Dagnall Coach of the Year. And then Minnesota is my pick to win the NBA championship at 20-1. Coach, of those 8 futures, which one, maybe which market stands out to you the most?
I like the Pacers to go over 36.5 wins. I don't want people to stop discounting how good of a coach Rick Carlisle is. And I think they're going to find a way to get it done. Different guys will step up. Nembar will step up. Congrats to Naismith for getting the contract extension. I think they're going to be better than people think. And I also think if that's the case, then I'm fading someone in that division. You know who I'm fading, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks, who have now cut 2 players this year so that they can bring back both Antetokounmpos to play with Giannis. So to me, if there's one I like the most, it's going to be Indiana to go over their team win total.
So for Giannis, JY, I just think there's a lot of value on the MVP market. I know it's a team that you're not buying, though, on the win total. Who is a team you're buying as it pertains to win total and maybe some other futures?
To me, it's Portland over 35.5 wins. I think this is a very intriguing team. Kevin, they played much better in the second half of the year. Scoot Henderson was better. They had to move someone between Scoot, Simons, and Sharp. I actually think they moved the one they needed to because I think Shady Sharp may not be as explosive offensively, but I think he's a better two-way player than Anthony Simons. You look at Avdija, who is, I think one of the most underrated players in the league. Obviously, you kick Don McClingan, takes a step up in year 2. You have Jeremy Grant, who I know the contract stinks, but still a serviceable player. And then you got Yang Hansen. I think this kid is going to be a sleeper in the Rookie of the Year market. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I think he's someone that's going to be better than we thought. So I like over 35.5. If I head to the East, and it's a higher number than I want it to be, I got a feeling about Toronto. If they can stay healthy. If you look at quickly, Barrett, Barnes, Ingram, Podol, Grady Dick, Amaji coming off the bench. If they're healthy, Kevin, they're pretty good. So and you start going through the East, right? They're better than the Wizards. They're better than the Nets. They're better than the Bulls. I think Miami's way overrated. I think they're better. They could be better than Miami because I think Miami's going to have some turmoil at some point. Maybe Bam gets moved at some point because Pat Riley keeps punting. Now he's punting for, I think, the 26-27 offseason when he's looking for the next superstar. So to me, West, Portland, East, Toronto.
JY, the NBA title market is a tricky one because you've got, as they're, getting their rings right now, the defending champs. JY, this team lost no one from last year's roster. I mean, it's remarkable. And you might think like, oh, come on, they had to lose someone. The biggest, their top 12 are all back. It's really, really wild. I, though, am willing to back Minnesota. I really believe in this group this year. I believe in Anthony Edwards, coach. JY, it took a long time for me to come around to Julius Randle, right? That was a big reason you were in on Minnesota to upset the Lakers last year. And, of course, it was a great call by you in the opening round. I'm in on Randle with Minnesota. I think he's really found a home here. I like those bench pieces. I think there's depth there, JY. I really do. Is there anyone in the title market, even if it's at the top, that you're interested in?
Well, I think, listen, I'm not betting, obviously, at 2-1, especially at $4.50. I'm going to be intrigued to watch New York, but they already got injury concerns with both Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson out for tomorrow. That's a concern with Mitchell Robinson. I think it's the same ankle as last year. You make a very good point about Anthony Edwards. Kevin, I think he's at 25-1. I actually like him as a sleeper pick, not a sleeper pick, but a value pick to win the MVP. Every year he takes a step. right? And I think this is the year where I think he can put himself, listen, in no particular order, you know who it is. It's SGA, it's Jokic, it's Luka, it's Wemby, it's Giannis. Those are basically the top 6 players in the league.
Yeah.
I think they have kind of separated themselves a little bit from everyone else. I think a huge year out of Ant. And listen, here is the key that everybody needs to realize. It's either Dillingham or Shannon Jr. One of them's got to take the jump because you still look at the point guard play of Mike Conley and say, are they going to make a move? I think it's going to be Dillingham is going to have a jump in year number 2.
Yeah, again, JY, I think they're both capable of it. And that's one of the things I love about this team is I think they could be really deep, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the most tempting things. Can I just say this too, quickly, JY? Because someone was asking me about this. I played some Wemby triple-double stuff. Just what, quickly, I know we don't have a little bit of time left, what you are expecting from him this season?
He's an alien.
Yeah.
Kevin, there were a couple of plays in that game against Indiana in the preseason. One where he drove the ball and just body bumped the guy off him and dunked it. I'm like, oh, no. If this kid figures his strength out to go at 7'5", he literally does things we've never seen. So I think Kevin is onto something with that stacking triple-double. I love it. I'm actually going to go play it as soon as I get off air. But if you can find it, folks, I'm going to put this out there. I think he gets a quadruple-double this year because between the points, rebounds, assists, blocks, he'll get a 10-block shot game. But can he put it with the other 3 and get a quadruple-double?
It's out there, JY. You can get involved here. I'll pull it up on one book, 16-1. I think another book maybe has 20-1.
Sold. I'm buying it.
All right, JY's buying the quadruple-double. You guys know I'm involved with the triple-doubles. Coach James Young, he will be live on In-Game Live a little bit later tonight. Make sure you are locked in throughout the opening night here of the NBA season. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to pay.
This game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Back at the right here on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decisions, and we are getting ready for the start of the 2025-2026 NBA season. The Oklahoma City Thunder just received their rings on the court. They're running around with the trophy, very excited, as they should be. It was an incredible season, as they are now going to see if they can pull off a repeat. Let's dive into this game a little bit more, just kind of the breakdowns overall for these groups here. And for OKC, it is very straightforward. The entire top 12 is back. The health really isn't a monstrous concern because they're young and they dealt with some injury stuff last year. Like, they begin the season without Jalen Williams, and that's not what you want, but they can survive it, as evidenced by tonight's line. This is a team that might win 70 games because last year they won 68, and Chet missed well over half the season. And that's why I'm playing Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year. Again, this team to win to win 70 games is about plus 850. We've only seen two teams win 70 games. 72 win Bulls, 73 win Golden State Warriors. Both coaches won Coach of the Year. I think it makes the Daigneault number the most tempting of the bunch. It's the best way for me to get involved with a Thunder team whose numbers got away from me almost all of last season, right? And they're just so short to start a year. On the Houston side of it, they're a very interesting group. The addition of Kevin Durant is a positive, but we have seen KD join teams that feel almost a guarantee to be high level contenders and it not work out. We've seen that, right? And this team losing FVV over the summer, Fred VanVleet, was something that initially didn't concern me. I thought that Fred VanVleet was over-trusted last year, and I think I was right about that because they should have played Reed Sheppard some. But they've now, because of last year's overinvestment in Fred VanVleet, they've now hurt themselves so much with his absence because you have a lot of questions. I believe in Reed Sheppard. I thought he was the best player in the draft class. He's not going to get the start tonight, though, because, again, the Rockets haven't fully given trust to a guy they drafted third overall. So now you have a team who, offensively, outside of Durant, it feels a little more uncertain, right? Maybe Şengün continues to take leaps. Maybe Amen Thompson continues to take leaps. And maybe Reed Sheppard takes a leap. But there was a level of certainty probably with Fred, who was a high-level three-point shooter on a team that doesn't have a lot of guys that shoot a ton of threes. So I think Houston is good. I think they could be great. They don't feel like a great threat to win a title for me. Again, that's why I was happy to bet Minnesota, getting longer odds on Minnesota relative to the Houston Rockets. But I do think the Rockets are live in this game tonight because they're playing to win, if you will. Like, I wanted Adams to start this game so I could bet the Rockets versus Reed Sheppard. Long term, I think they're going to need Reed Sheppard. But the best lineup tonight for Houston is very likely the Adams-Şengün double big lineup, monster mash unit, if you will. And I think that could make life a little bit difficult on OKC scoring the basketball here. Without Jalen Williams, it's all eyes and then some on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We'll see if OKC can get hot from beyond the arc. I like the Rockets to cover the 7. I do think your reigning MVP and finals MVP will look to pass the ball tonight because he was doing it all preseason. On a per 33-minute basis, his assists per game average in the preseason was 9.3. In 9 games played without Jalen Williams last year, he had 7 or more assists in 6 of those 9. And I think it lines up with what I expect here tonight. As Shai, who loves to be able to get into the mid-range paint area, he will be running into a lot of length. And I think that will then, and I think they're going to collapse on Shai, create opportunities for Hassan Wallace or Lou Dort or Chet Holmgren to shoot a number of threes. And that's how I'm going to play the opening game of this NBA season. But we're going to break down game number 2 on the Lakers side with Trevor Lane, who covers this team very well, very closely, next. And what do we expect from Luka's first full year as a Los Angeles Laker? And when will we see LeBron try to figure it out next?
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to
This
pay.
game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Live in the green room, it's Game Time Decisions. We are here on SportsGrid. We're moving, we're shaking, we're making it happen. And just like that, we've never been more fine. Let's talk about the opening night of the NBA through the lens of the home team in game number 2 with the Los Angeles Lakers. To help us do that is Trevor Lane. You very likely already know him over on Twitter. Trevor_Lane does a great job covering this team. He's the host over at Lakers Nation. Trevor, we appreciate you making some time for us on opening night.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. Great night around the NBA. An exciting time of year in basketball as the NBA is getting kicked off here and the Lakers take on the Warriors. It's going to be, I think an exciting start to the season here. So thank you for having me.
So, Trevor, I want to just start with tonight specifically. The Lakers starting 5 is known because JJ told us what he sent out there for Sacramento was going to be the group. Rui, Gabe, Luka, Reeves, Ayton. How do you and maybe others around this team feel about that starting 5? Of course, no LeBron James. We'll get into that. How do you feel about the Lakers' approach, and what does that maybe starting 5 tell you it is?
Yeah, I think this is a middle ground starting 5. I mean, a lot of the conversation has been, could they go with a Jared Vanderbilt, who is an all-defense, very little offense type player? Could they go with maybe Jake LaRavia and get some more size on the wing? Could it be a Marcus Smart out there, the veteran guy? But in Gabe Vincent, you're getting a feisty defensive player, not as good as a defender as, say, a Marcus Smart or a Jared Vanderbilt, but a better offensive player efficiency-wise than Smart shooting the 3 ball, and certainly much better than Jared Vanderbilt. So you're kind of taking that middle road here, but I think specifically for this matchup with the Golden State Warriors, he also makes some sense because you're going to have to chase Steph Curry around, which is not necessarily the forte of Marcus Smart these days. He's better at defending up, position than defending down and trying to chase Steph. So I do think it makes sense from that perspective. I also think it's fair to question whether or not this is going to be the starting lineup moving forward. JJ Redick has left that up in the air. So while I think Gabe Vincent does start tonight against the Warriors, I wouldn't count on that being the case on Friday when the Lakers see the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And I do imagine, Trevor, that when LeBron is back, that all changes regardless. As we head into the season, do you, and again, those around the team, feel like you have a handle on when that LeBron debut is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a ramp-up process even once he gets cleared, and we are a couple of weeks away from the reevaluation point. And I always say reevaluate does not mean return. We often confuse the two things. Reevaluate means he has to get the green light from the doctors, and then from there will be a ramp-up period. Now, he's been on the floor in practices, not doing 5-on-5 team stuff, but doing individual work. So I think there is hope that the ramp up won't take as long, certainly as if he was completely shut down. That's not where he's at right now. But I think we're looking at sometime around mid-November at the best to get LeBron back on the court for the Lakers, because they've said it many times. They're going to take the long view with him. They're not going to rush him back. They felt like maybe they burned him out a little bit early last season, and they would rather err on the side of caution and have a healthier Bron, ideally later on in the season, than worrying too much about getting it back out on back out there on the court now.
Can I just stick on this for a second, though, Trevor? Because what was supposed to be this crazy offseason of NBA news ended up being incredibly tame outside of some LeBron oddness, ultimately, with this Lakers team. Do you think it is on the board that LeBron is playing basketball this year at some point for a team that is not the Lakers?
I think it's possible. I'll say it's unlikely for a few reasons. I do think that if LeBron looks at this Lakers team and he says, we simply do not have a shot to win a championship this year, I don't think there's a move out there we can make that's going to put us to that level. Maybe he goes to the Lakers and asks for a trade, but that's what it would take. They're not going to trade him on their own. He would have to ask for a trade, and we have to remember he has a no trade clause. On top of that, logistically trading a almost $53 million salary, very, very difficult to pull off. So I will say it's unlikely that LeBron finishes this year on another team. Not impossible. They've made it very, very clear that he wants to contend for championships. And if he feels like the Lakers are preserving assets right now in order to make moves in the future, which may not include LeBron James, then maybe he asks out. But even then, he would control the process. He has a no trade clause. And I've been told specifically from the Lakers that they want to win a championship this year with LeBron and with Luka. That is their goal. They're not looking to trade LeBron James right now.
So then to the Luka piece of it all, Trevor, he is one of the best players in the world. But man, last year was weird because it never felt like he was fully settled in. Yet the offseason, I think everything was positive, from how he looked, his play with his country. I mean, through the couple of preseason appearances we made. What are you expecting from Luka's first full season as a Los Angeles Laker? We know he has top 4 MVP odds.
Yeah, I'm expecting the best season we've ever seen from Luka. He is in incredible shape. He is now completely moved on mentally from being traded. I think that really did hurt him on an emotional level. That was something that carried with him and lingered over him last season. He has moved on. He is now a Laker. He is committed to this team long-term, signing a new deal with them back in August. So I think we're going to see perhaps the best version of Luka Doncic that we've seen yet. If you saw the Luka that played with Slovenia over the summer, he was even more active on the defensive side of the ball. He was getting defensive accolades. That's not to say he's suddenly going to become a plus defender in the NBA, but we've seen improvements throughout his game over the summer, and I think that's going to carry over into this season. And if the Lakers win enough games, that's the biggest question. Can they win enough games? Because if they do, he will be firmly in the MVP conversation.
And I think that is one of the reminders I'd offer up to people who have looked at this Lakers team over the last half decade or so, just through the lens of, yeah, it's a LeBron team. I'm going to fade a LeBron team. He's not healthy. Like, I think, Trevor, quite frankly, it's on the board. He doesn't come back until Christmas, because that would be a very big-time LeBron return. I'm sure he'd love to get back out there, right? But like you said, they're going to be very cautious with this, so it's going to put a lot on Luka. It will put a lot on Austin Reeves. I think he is, I mean, again, it's a long shot because maybe he's well too established But I think he's a long shot most improved candidate because of how much run he's about to get during this absence of LeBron. What are you expecting from Reeves this season?
Well, I'm expecting the best season of his career. He's gotten better each and every year. His points per game are going up. He's a very efficient player. He's getting to the free throw line. He is handling the basketball more than we've ever seen. And now he's going to step into a bigger role. And it's perfect timing for him because he's also in a contract year. He has a player option next year. He declined an extension with the Lakers over the summer, not because he wants to leave LA. He has said many times, he has said specifically to me, that he wants to spend his career as a Laker. He doesn't want to go anywhere else, but he wants to be able to get a bigger deal that is equal to his talent, and hopefully he could find that next summer. That's the goal for them for this season, is to go out there and show what he really is. So I think he is primed for a big, big year. This is a prove-it year for Austin Reeves. He's going to have plenty of opportunities playing with Luka Doncic, and there's going to be a lot of minutes where right now with LeBron out, whenever Luka is out of the game, it is Austin Reeves' show, and he's going to get to show exactly what he's got. And so the Lakers are going to give him that opportunity this year. I'm expecting a big, big year out of him. It's contract year. Plus, with LeBron being out, Austin has everything falling into place for him to put up some really big numbers.
Trevor, we only got maybe about 30 or so seconds left, and we really appreciate it. Prediction for tonight? Does it feel like a Laker 1-0 start to the season?
You know what? If I have to be honest, I think the Warriors have a lot of things that can exploit the weaknesses we've seen with the Lakers so far. I would like to see a Lakers win. Of course, I cover up for Lakers Nation, but I do think the Warriors are going to be a really tough matchup opening night without LeBron James. So if I had to put money on it, I would probably lean towards the Warriors side. I think they've just got the pieces that can exploit the deficiencies right now that the Lakers have.
Yeah, I think the healthy version of Golden State is an incredibly dangerous group. I also think they have this. Sometimes they just muddy things up on their own. It's like, oh, Kuminga's starting tonight. Why? Who's getting benched? What's going on? We'll see what Luka has in store for him. Trevor Lane, an incredible job. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight. Best of luck throughout the season.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Again, Trevor Lane, make sure you find him over on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. We'll be right back with more Game Time decisions on SportsGrid.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to
This
pay.
game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We are live on SportsGrid on a Tuesday night. This NBA season is officially underway in Oklahoma City between the Thunder and the Rockets, and I think we have done a pretty good job of setting you up for the NBA season. And I, being self-aware, not really, not at all. It was a good job by the production team. They had to slow me down. They're like, maybe talk about something else for like 10 minutes. Then other than the NBA, I was like, yeah, good idea. Let's call Brady up on a Tuesday and talk some NFL lines. Brady, it is always good to see you, my friend.
Hey, I want to know, first of all, I'm an old guy. You know that. And back in the day, it was a rule of thumb. The opening night of the NBA season, there was 3 words: fade the rings. Fade the rings. Did we bet the Rockets tonight? They have that
we
ceremony,
sure did.
all that pomp and
We
circumstance.
Sure did.
And at least bet the Rockets for the first quarter of the first half. Fade the rings. That was a staple of my NBA betting career.
Well, that's what we're doing. We've got the +7. Sam in the back took the Rockets first half money line. So
there you go.
We're right. We're right where we need to be. Brady, so many fascinating games. I think this was the most fun I had kind of running through the games. What are the numbers going to be? There was another spot that made my stomach turn as I root against getting the number I want because I don't want to bet the game. But I know there was one that stood out to you. Denver and Dallas, 2 teams who had very different football games this past Sunday. What stood out to you about a game booked right now, 3.5 in Denver's favor?
Yeah, let's see. I made it 2.5 in favor of Denver. And I really do believe there's a little something, my partner on the Las Vegas football contest show, Mike Pritchard, who's a former Denver Bronco, calls it an axe to grind. This last weekend, Mike Vrabel had an axe to grind in Tennessee. I think Javonte Williams might have a little bit of an axe to grind in Denver, his former team. He might want to put one on them. We know there's no problem with that Dallas offense, and now they have CeeDee Lamb in the fold. I don't know if anybody can stop that offense, even a defense like Denver. Now, even an offense like Denver can probably move the ball on Dallas's defense too. So I do believe we're in for a tight game. If you're saying 3.5, I think you're probably saying that these 2 teams are pretty evenly matched on a neutral field. I think Denver certainly has one of the bigger home field advantages because of the elevation, maybe 2.5 points. So, I think I understand the 3.5. I'd probably take it. But let's remember, just a couple weeks ago, the Cowboys lost to the Panthers, too. They're not the same team on the road as they are at home. So I just think it's an interesting game. And I don't know how Denver's going to respond after what they did last week. And the same goes for the Giants. I mean, can they recover from blowing that? And what do the Broncos do? Is this a springboard or do they have a letdown? I mean, all of that stuff I think is interesting conversation that we're going to have to figure out as the week goes along. But the one thing that occurred to me was Javonte Williams and this offense really starting to cook for Dallas. There could be a little something there.
So I think the thing that you said that I couldn't agree with the most, and it's not very helpful to anyone, is I don't know what to do with Denver or the Giants off of that game. For someone who believes in spread math the way I do, right? Fade the books in their own adjustments. The Eagles just went to the Giants and laid 7.5. They're now home laying 7. That is basically, that's everything I ever talk about. That Giants game is so weird, I may not get to laying that number with Philly, even though that is, again, some level of a principal play of mine, if you will, Brady. Can I ask you what you made that game?
Yeah, I was just going to let you know. I made it 6. I think the Giants are probably, with the assertion or insertion of Jackson Dart into the lineup, I think they become better. That's pretty obvious. They've won a couple games and they've been very competitive. Should have won, obviously, again last week. I don't think the Eagles are really as good And even last week, I wasn't so sure about them. I was against them with the Vikings, and the Vikings had multiple chances to keep that game close, if not win it. They really, I mean, coming out of a bye, that was pretty bad. Carson Wentz was up to his usual tricks. That, again, out of a bye week, that was pretty disappointing. I think the one area of the game that was good and has been pretty decent for Philadelphia is the defense. Vic Fangio's getting it done. Otherwise, they're not all that impressive. I know Jalen Hurts made a couple of beautiful throws. The throw to A.J. Brown was just awful defense. That was brutal. But I still don't feel like I don't at all feel like they're the team that won the Super Bowl last year, at least yet. So, again, I probably knocked them down half a notch and moved the Giants up half a notch. And I came up with 6, 7, it's not all that different. I'm not running to the window to bet the Giants because, like we talk about, I don't know what the mood in that locker room is after last week.
Let me ask you about another 7-point line, Brady, which is New England laying that amount to Cleveland, who comes off of this demolition of the Miami Dolphins.
I made it 8 in favor of New England, but I'm not running to bet the Patriots at only 7. I actually want to see this number creep up and bet the Browns. I don't think this is a good spot for New England, and it doesn't have a lot to do with last week. I think that's another team. Go against them now before they fire their coach, and there's that new coach bump with the Dolphins. This team is really bad right now in a bad way. I made the number 9 with the Falcons, and that number is currently 7. But the Patriots are off of 4 wins in a row, 3 straight wins on the road. And this last one, they were all geeked up for Mike Vrabel to go into Nashville and lay it on his former boss and that type of thing. Now they come home. They haven't been home for, 3 weeks in a row. And these are human beings that have bills to pay and to get their life sorted out for a minute while they're at home for now a couple weeks in a row. I think they could be giving the Browns a little too much when there's a possibility for a little bit of a slip here. And the stock couldn't be much higher on New England either. So I'm waiting for the right number. As high as I can get it, I'd be looking at Cleveland.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. I know Brady has some golf picks for him. We're going to get those on the other side, and then we'll set you up for Lakers-Warriors. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
And sometimes your offense can benefit your defense.
Yeah.
They are going to need to sustain drives, I believe. They can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and all of a sudden Price and Jeremiah Love are ripping your defense for 5 and 8 yards per carry. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. So we'll see how this game plays out. I do favor the rushing attack and physicality of Notre Dame. The way they're running the football right now is as good as anybody.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think I just smiled for the first time in relation to this game.
Yeah, my misery, right? My misery cost you a smile.
That was the price to
This
pay.
game is like watching paint dry. I mean, 21-0 in the first half. We have no action in the second. Brian Thomas, glass house. The guy can't stay on the field. His stone hands today.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't worry, too much. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a bad play. He's probably a good streamer, but I don't think he's going to get you 10 for 140 again. And he got you 10 for 140 again. And now he gets Mac Jones again this week playing quarterback. And Mac Jones has just found this connection. Now, you do have a returning George Kittle. That's going to put a wrinkle in this offense. Eventually, you should get a returning Brock Purdy. So Bourne's value is at its zenith. That's when you try to sell guys off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
All right, quickly, right here with you on SportsGrid. If you bet Amen Thompson for a 3, nightmare fuel. His pinky toe was on the line, and that's just the longest 2 you'll see all NBA season. Chet Holmgren, MVP candidate? I don't know. He's got 11 of the first 13 points. It's a close one. It's a good one early in Oklahoma City. We'll get you some Lakers-Warriors action on the way out. We'll reset all of the futures, but we still have our guy Brady Cannon here, and while we're talking NFL, there is golf still happening. I am now convinced there's no golf off season. I thought there was. Every week, either Brady or Cam come to me with multiple outrights. So, Brady, what's going on in the golf?
Yeah, we're back to the FedEx Cup fall. It's kind of hit and miss. They don't play every single week. This is one of 4 remaining events for the fall season. There's kind of a funny tournament in December, the Tiger Woods Invitational type thing, the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas that Scotty Scheffler wins every year. And then we truly don't have golf until January. But this one's just a couple hours up the road in southern Utah from me. And I've been by this place and seen this resort, the Black Desert Championship. They called it last year. It was the inaugural year of the tournament, and now they're calling it the Bank of Utah Championship, a new sponsor or what have you. But this is a huge growing area as far as real estate, resort, golf, all that good stuff. And it's cool being so close to home and being familiar with the area to have a tournament up there. I went with 5 outrights and a lot of Las Vegas connection here. Kurt Kitayama, he's one of the shorter price guys, a UNLV guy that lives here in Las Vegas. He's very familiar with this golf course. Got him at 20-1. Taylor Montgomery, his father's the general manager of Shadow Creek. He too played at UNLV. Both of these guys have been playing very well as of late. Got Montgomery at 66. Then I took, who else? So Rico Hoey, who's been very hot as of late, got him at 25-1. And then a couple of long bombs, Aldrich Potgieter, the South African who can really bomb it. The fairways here are super duper wide, Kevin. That's like seriously a 70 to 100 yards wide. And they designed it that way because the wind sometimes can really blow. So if you're out there a resort player and the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, you don't need a fairway that's 20 yards wide. So they built it that way. Not supposed to be any wind this week in that part of Utah. I think these guys are going to tear it apart. 23 under par was the winning score last year. And Potgieter is the longest hitter in the world. It ought to give him a good advantage. He's not going to have trouble finding the fairways. Got him at 66-1. And then finally, Carson Young, who has had good success at this golf course and a couple of the correlated courses, got him at 80-1. We'll see if one of them hits. I do want to let you know, my friends at BetMGM told me, and this caught me by surprise. You talked about Warriors-Lakers coming up later tonight. I know you've got some picks. The biggest liability to win the NBA championship this year at BetMGM is the Golden State Warriors. I couldn't believe it. I'm a Warriors fan. I love betting the Warriors to win it all. Not this year. I think they're too long in the tooth. They'll be decent. I don't think they can win the West, let alone the championship. I found that interesting. They're the number 1 liability to win it all at BetMGM.
It is a great betting nugget, and I will tell people that if you turned injuries off, I mean, I don't know if they should be the number 1 handle, but they're really talented. And they're deep this year, and I think the Horford edition is a good one, and I think a full season of Jimmy can be good for them, and I think the Kuminga stuff might actually work in their favor. Draymond's going to miss 20 games. Jimmy's going to miss 20 games. Al Horford has been in cruise control in Boston because they never needed anyone to be healthy to win a ton of games. Steph Curry maybe will stay healthy. He has the last 2 years. That might be a tough bet. And I'll just add on top of what Brady said, a team with all those questions in Golden State having shorter odds than a Minnesota Timberwolves, I think is a big mistake. Minnesota has made the conference finals 2 straight years. Anthony Edwards is getting better, and he has the most depth around him, I think, since he's been the lead dog of the show for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're my pick at 20-1. Tonight's pick for Lakers-Warriors, DeAndre Ayton over 10.5 rebounds. A Golden State team that's surprisingly starting Jonathan Kuminga might actually help this bet out a little bit due to even less size being available for Golden State in that game. Give me 8 and over the 10.5 bounds. And a one quick reminder of the futures. Brady's buddy will like this first one. Kings over 32.5 wins. Pacers over 36.5. Sixers to win the East. Grizzlies to win the West. I still can't believe that's 130 to 1. Giannis MVP, Edgecombe Rookie of the Year, Dagnall Coach of the Year. We will see you tomorrow. In-game live is next on Sports Grid. There we go.